The Biden administration attempted to implement a policy allowing some vetted non-citizens into the United States in an effort to ease overcrowding at border facilities. But a federal judge blocked that attempt. That's in addition to Vice President Kamala Harris's work to address the root causes of migration. Now, the vice president's work has resulted in declining migration from places like El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala in the past 2 years. But people seeking entry into the United States, they are not just numbers. Each person carries with them a story of hardship and sometimes chaos, and that often continues after they cross into the United States. My colleague Jose Diaz-Balart spoke with one Venezuelan grandmother at the Rescue Mission Shelter in El Paso. After a month-long journey, she's preparing to separate from her daughter and granddaughter in order to be reunited with her husband. Here's what she told Jose.
How are you going to say goodbye? God will give me the strength. At least I know that my granddaughter will have a better future here. And one day we'll be able to see each other again.
The United States of America has an obligation to consider every asylum claim. What some regard as a simple bureaucratic procedure, it actually means the difference between families staying together or families being forced apart. So how are the leaders of border communities handling the fallout from this obligation to address asylum claims within a system that simply isn't equipped to handle them? Let's ask the mayor of McAllen, Texas, Mayor Javier Villalobos. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you, sir. I want to start where I ended, frankly, with Title 42. It expired in the early hours of Friday morning. You just heard the numbers. Do the numbers line up with what you are experiencing in McAllen?
You know, we're ecstatic. As a matter of fact, just right before the expiration, there was an uptick. There was an uptick in numbers, and we were kind of expecting, as everybody thought, a surge. Fortunately, the NGOs and also the Mexican authorities have been advising a lot of the immigrants over there the difference between Title II and now Title VIII and the different ramifications. So I think hopefully the immigrants are heeding the advice and trying to do everything the way they're supposed to. So we're fortunate that we are not having as much issues as we predicted.
So I think that's welcome to news, sir, across the board. I think people are happy to hear that. So let's talk about the disaster declaration that you recently signed prior to the expiration of Title 42. How does this declaration affect your ability to process people's requests down there in McAllen?
Actually, we never lifted the declaration that was signed 2 years ago. This was more a clarification and taking out the COVID issues in the declaration. Then, of course, everybody knows we need to file or issue a declaration in order to be able to get state and federal funds or tap into. And, of course, we don't want to spend any of our municipal funds on a federal issue. So we have to do this. And we are fortunate that this time we have received federal funds. We have received funds from FEMA. And in order for us to assist the federal government to do what they're supposed to be doing, we need to have their funds, and we have this time.
So, sir, are these, Mayor, are these new funds? Because I know last week when Secretary Mayorkas was in the Rio Grande Valley, you had an opportunity to speak with him, and it is reported that you were heartened by what you heard, and what you heard was a promise of funding. So the funds that Secretary Mayorkas spoke to you about, you have now received?
You know, we've been doing this for close to a decade. So we've been having funding throughout. Even before the lifting of 42, we've been having this issue for the past years. So this time, fortunately, we have been receiving funding. We have right now the necessary funding. And of course, when we met with Mayorkas, it was a brief meeting. Yes, he did advise that funding will be available.
So new funding. So then, Mayor, you have made the argument that the responsibility on addressing the immigration issues, they lie with the federal government. They shouldn't be left at the municipal level, but given what is happening, you and other mayors of border towns have been acting. Can you pull back the layers for us about what your working relationship is with the Biden administration?
Well, you know what? We work with everybody. As a matter of fact, like we say, it kind of seems like we have experience doing this because in reality, we have close to a decade. But we work very closely with everybody, whoever we need to keep our community safe. And I like to say it, we have one of the safest communities, the third safest city in the United States, McAllen, Texas. And we want to keep it that way. And how have we done it? You know, the issue of the immigration, fortunately, we have now, at least there's going to be some federal troops if necessary. I know Governor Abbott has sent people, Operation Lone Star. We work very closely with the federal, state, local, with our county, everybody. And of course, we have a very good police force here, should it be necessary.
After you signed that disaster declaration, you actually did a press conference where you took questions. I watched your entire press conference. You took questions in English and in Spanish, which I think there's some elected officials that should take note from your inclusive press access there. And what struck me in that press conference is you were clear to make the point that Title 42 was a health order that was used to to address an immigration issue, but it was not an immigration policy. And that is language, Mayor, that I have not heard a lot of Republican elected officials use. You seem to be willing to do whatever needs to be done to address the issues for your constituents. Have you been talking to some of your other fellow Republicans throughout the party, particularly in Congress, where this issue has essentially stalled?
Look, I talk to Republicans and I talk to Democrats, and we always implore, look, take care of the issues. To me, it doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat. This is a national issue. It really is. It's something that we need to take care of, and we don't have to have comprehensive immigration. We can piecemeal it. We can take care of the guest worker program, DACA, just keep on going, but there has to be an effort by both parties. So when I lay blame sometimes, I don't do it on parties. I do it on everybody. Both the Congress, the Senate, the administration, they got to stop utilizing this issue as a political issue to divide people and to raise money. Look, the American people come first. Do it.
The American people come first. Do it. Mayor, before I let you go, yes, folks want to see reform. I think people would like to see the government do something. The administration has said that they are doing all they can, but they need Congress to act as a willing partner. What specifically would you like to see Congress do, this Congress, this year, on the issue of immigration reform?
It's going to be difficult, but we also know, and I keep on telling people, we know that our birth rates are lower, our population is aging. We know that we need people to work. There's a lot of individuals that are willing to come to this country and work. If they do it legally, we can get our economy back to the way it used to be. Even down here in the Rio Grande Valley, the border areas, we lack workforce sometimes. Some of these individuals, if we do it right, they can assist, and they don't necessarily want to be here. If you do it right, they come, they work, they go back, they help their families, and they help our country in the same time.
McAllen, Texas Mayor Javier Villalobos, thank you very much for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Certainly.